Hello, it's Sai Kelly. Let me get this up on its little stand. Oh, there I am. Wow, just like that. Well, I think I've done wrong again. We had a glorious kind of interlooping and kind of a restful night. But we finished up the rest of the food from the farmer's market. I think I have one more bone for the dog, but the beef doesn't exactly have a lot of meat on it, I think. I don't know, but it was still really, really good. But I would have eaten all of that the first day. That's what I would recommend. The chicken thighs were glorious, so we had those in between as meat filler because there wasn't a lot of meat on the beef. The beef was exquisite, okay? The seasoning, the flavoring, everything was exactly what you would want. I would just want just a teeny bit more meat. But it had dried out by the second day, so, I was just being strung along. We would have got more meat to begin with if we had just... So whatever meat I had on the bones, I just gave it to the dog and suppressed my, the nuances. So next time, beef tips. And brisket. So, which they both had, but I really wanted to try the beef cribs because I hadn't tried them for a while. So that's what I would say. Good for flavoring, but they're not country beef ribs, that you would make with a beef bourguignon, simmered down with onions and adding in red wine and doing a caramelized onion to make like sort of bringing it down, simmering it down for 2 to 3 hours of constant stirring so that it doesn't burn, and adding in a flour to be the gravy so that it's this thick, mixture. And I made that for my dad once, and he was just like, oh my God. He didn't even talk. Like, he was just not talking English, which is, strange for an Italian guy. And he was just like, Catherine, I want another piece. I was like, oh my God. Like it's the chef's nightmare. He's going to eat it all. He's like, I don't want you to cook anymore, Catherine. I was like, no, you can't say things like that. She will kill me. Yeah, mom lives for that. You can't take it away. Yeah. So yeah. He's like, more. I'm like, Dad. So there it was, and then it was gone. I hate that when I stir and then it's like gone, but it's supposed to be good and gone. It's just, it's kind of like when I made that Ina Garden chocolate cake. I was just cooking and cleaning for 3 hours straight to make it, and finally got the frosting on it, and it cooled down just as I brought out the ribs that I had prepared for that day. Because the whole family was gathering for some holiday, and it was just really weird because I bought it in on a nice platter that my mom had, and then I brought in the ribs and everything. Everything was quiet. Nobody said anything, and I took the chocolate cake, and they were just like, cut it. It was like, okay, no, cut it now. I was like, they actually just wanted each to have their own slice, and then muesli, musling over it. They just went away like scattered. Nobody was at the table except me and a small slither of chocolate cake. I want my piece. I was like, bigger. Bigger. Just give them our piece. Your dad and I want our piece too. And I was like, eh? Anyway, people move a knife when it's in your hand. Yeah, they don't care if you cut them. And so, because I don't think I had the cake knife or that you normally would use. So, I mean, my mom had the silver cake cutter, but I didn't use that. And so I quickly packaged everything up, gave everybody a bag and a to-go bag with everything, and they were just like, thanks. I couldn't tell what was going on, but then again, c'est la vie. And we had one corner left, and my mom and dad had their big chunk. Yeah, because it was really good. It was because I think I used a 9-inch, so it was really pretty big cake. So and I think Ron and Denise's cake cuts were equal, and they had half the cake. And they were like, I want my own piece. I was like, okay, that's great. And I remember when my sister, I had made some brownies. Well, she got me a cooking class at Le Cordon Bleu, and she kept calling me Brownie. Brownie one. I was like, what are you doing? Brownie one. I was like, Denise, my arm almost fell off making those brownies. The recipe was hard. She's like, so people don't really treat me quite well after they eat my food. And so it's interesting, but I guess those are the good parts, the highlights of good things that have happened, Yeah, it was pretty nice, Anyway, if you can, I would love it if you would, take this recipe, because since it is spring coming up, I think it's not such a bad recipe to have. Most people don't eat that many sweets, and this is kind of a sweet treat, so eat it early. And do the best you can. So it is basically kind of indulgent, and it's I wouldn't call it a parfait, but it does have layers to it. So in the bottom of the glass, and make sure you have either a margarita glass or some type of a glass that's parfait, whatever. I don't care what glass you use, but use a pretty glass, use a flute or something. And this is where it gets kind of tricky. Trying to think of how to explain it, but you would basically, I will probably do a different video and just show you, because it requires you to kind of put some refrigeration into it and kind of get it set so that it really does something beautiful. And then when you take it out of the freezer, you have to put it into the refrigerator, and then you have to put it just before you serve it. You pull it out so that there's nice frost on the glass on the outside, so you can do the frosting for the glass and then bring it out. And it actually is a really wonderful way to kind of graffiti your glass, because you're going to write something on it, like XO on the freezer portion. So you really want to keep the glass kind of, mold it to something kind of frozen, because you're actually using the glass as kind of art. So if it has art on it, that's fine. But if it doesn't, then this is when you can kind of use the frosting for the glass that you chilled it in and get some writing on it. So and I would say, yeah, there's just the cups like go through it right now, but it's really nice. And I would say this works really good with like honeycomb, like ice cream, honeybee ice cream, like lavender ice cream, something like that. Something where the ice cream isn't going to be fighting the sweetness that comes from the cookie. Or actually, it's really not a cookie. It's just it's a small kind of repressed, a sugary delight, but it's highly sugary. So it's kind of nice to have an ice cream that's not going to fight it. So you don't want too sweet of an ice cream. So yeah, so I think, and then you can use blueberries that have been you're gonna use the blueberries that have been boiled, you don't boil them, but just stirred lightly, and make sure that they've been kind of, you want the syrup from the blueberries. That's your drizzle. So and so I think it lends itself very nicely. So I think it's really nice, just to do something different. And it makes a lot of fun. It makes a lot of fun, but it adds a little bit of elevation. That's all. So this is, the way you would want to present it, just with an adage of a little bit more of an adult flair, and that makes it feel a little bit better. Now, in the Amish market, I just want to say that a lot of people wonder about making their own cookies and making them flatten. Most people, to flatten the cookie or to make it crisp, they either add butter, because butter flattens the cookie, flour raises the cookie. If you add too much butter, you can always see it, because your cookie's just instead of remaining, lighty, and sifted flour is even better. So, 2 different sifted flours is even better. So what I would recommend is, if you don't know how to do the cookies and get the scallop edges, go to the Amish market. They have the scallop cookies, and it's perfect. So when you buy your ice cream for summer treats, all you have to do is put a scoop of whatever you like. They have chocolate. They have different flavor cookies with the scallop edge, and you add your ice cream on it, and then you let that set, right? And then you add you elevate it, right? So you're just, however you want to elevate it is how you elevate it. Whether you use chocolate chips, mini chips, large chips, wiggle worms, and chips, gummy bears. You could use a chopped up toffee bar. You can put fruit on it, and then you just wrap it in saran wrap, not saran wrap, I'm sorry, in clear wrap, and you put it in the freezer. You can put it on, I would prefer if you put it on a tray, but if you put it in the saran wrap, it does make it kind of nice, and those just go in, and you can do chocolate chip cookies yourself, if they, and then you can also do, they have a nice dark chocolate cookie. They also have, what's really great is they have the long cookies that which you normally use for an ice cream sandwich. So you can actually do an elevated ice cream sandwich. And in this particular case, you can also freeze it, and then you can do different dips. But you'd have to get it, frozen together, then dip, and then put it in. So once you do that, you want to make sure that whatever you put it in, and this is how I would do it. You don't have to do it this way, but just have a bucket of ice and have it, in the saran wrap so that you can, or in the parchment so that you can quickly, you don't get it wet, but it freezes. And then I think you could, at the same token, you could do, instead of dipping it, you could drizzle. I like to do a fast drizzle, so it makes it complicated. Well, just a tiny bit, but you could do a drizzle, and then add nuts, chocolates. You could definitely cut up a chocolate bar or shavings from a chocolate bar of your favorite kind: Snickers, Milky Way, Three Musketeers, and wonderfully enough, you can even use marshmallow. So then the cookie becomes a s'mores. And then after you do that, you get it frozen, you have a layer of marshmallow, and then all you do is use your favorite caramel sauce and do a layer of caramel, put some peanuts on it with the sauce, do a layer of peanuts, have your ice cream at the bottom, and the two sandwich layers. And then at that particular time, you could do like a half dip or whatever, or you could just do an extra drizzle of chocolate on top, and probably something dark chocolate, or you could do white chocolate as the contrast, and small baby M&Ms if you want, or if it's Christmas, you could do the red and the green. If it's Easter, I would add a dye to the white chocolate, if that is not too aggressive for you. And then I would just do orange with the drizzle, and then I would just do a nice blue. You can still do green, and you can do lilac. In order to create purple, obviously it's red and blue. So, and then to do the pink, it's just red. Red. I guess it's red and white. Red never turns out. It's probably always going to be that way. And then, and I think it's a nice treat for Easter, if it's a little bit hot, or it does make it a little bit of a very grand gesture, and Yeah, the wonderful thing about it is, you've made this terrific personalized ice cream sandwich, and the real deal of it is you're just layering. So when you get your pan or your sheet, You lay all the cookies down. You start with your first layer, then the next layer, freezing as you go in between until you finish the layers off. So really, probably within maybe an hour's time's top, you should have the final layer on. And then you should just have a tray, which you're just cutting in between like the cookies the way you want to do it. So it's nice that they have the squares, right? You know, so I think it's going to be really good, a really good combination. So I hope you guys have ideas too about those things, because I was thinking about that when I got my s'mores from Rishuti, and how they had the cookie, and then they had the marshmallow, and then the chocolate was surrounded by the chocolate. So, good grief, you know, you could do whatever you like. I think most people would approve. That would be up to you how you want to do it. I think having blue and bright orange and red and even yellow and, you know, in soft pastels to kind of mark the occasion, you know. And you can even, I mean, have edible glitter vomit, or do some writing and be like Happy Easter, whatever you want to do. Or I would write it on a card. You already are exhausted, because you know everybody has time to do that. I was looking at the Great Depression cooking show with I think her name is Laura, but she was cooking, and she was this was quite a few years ago, but I still watch it because she, during the summer, she said they were still poor, but they wanted to make the Italian ice, and it's kind of a labor of love because the ice forms layer by layer, and you put the boiled lemon sugar mixture in the pan, but then you break it up and let it freeze more, break it up, let it freeze more, break it up, let it freeze more, and until, you know, you have the all important, you know, Italian icy. And so that getting it to the right boiling point, seeing where it is and the right temperature, all of those things will count. So make sure you follow the appropriate guide for when you melt, your melting time, so that everything has the right sheen and isn't and doesn't glump, you know. So you make sure, if you're only supposed to do it for 15 seconds and you look at it and you say, well, the chocolate didn't change, but when you stir it, it will be changed. So you have to remember, inside the little morsel, it's all melted. So when you stir it, it may not look melted. When you stir it, when you do your dip, that's when it's changing. So, but as soon as the air hits it, you're in trouble. So have someone with you to help you dip very quickly, and you know, you'll be fine. This is also a time when you can add a little bit of the chocolate, but then remember the chocolate I bought from Rishuti? Add that atop of your dessert, and just, you know, melt a little bit of chocolate and put the chocolate on top, and then you kind of have an elevated chocolate. And what I don't know if it's gonna work, but since it's a rectangle, you can actually make it triangled when you cut it, so that you know, then you can also, you know, I don't know, do something else if you feel like you need to. But I love it that you kind of get you have the audacity to keep going. And remember, the chocolates you melt, it can be any color in the white chocolate, and you'll be able to create any number of flavors from that if you flavor it also. So if you do, a red, you can make it a nice cherry flavor. Because they have the flavors as well. And so a lot of different combinations. If you do the orange, you can do sort of like a clementine kind of ice cream, orange ice cream sandwich, kind of orange cream chocolate. And remember, you can always soak fruit in liqueur and then present like a cherry, as with a dot of sugar, confectioner sugar, and water is really good glue, and just put that on the top of each one or every other one. Or you can just use frosting, and put a little basket on it, on each one, with maybe a kind of a carrot, or some little grasses or the little florets of leaves, and that's it. So as much as you want to do with it, for to keep it not from melting, and then you put it back in, you freeze it, you put it back in, you freeze it, you decorate, and you work as fast as you can. So that also works pretty well. So have fun with it. I think it's wonderful. And one of the ways you can do it very quickly is just by templates of not templates, but by the I forget what the cutouts for it. So if you have Easter cutouts, it makes it easy. So then you could create your own template and then fill in on what you want to do. So why not, right? And I think it'll help you go. It'll go really, really fast, and I would love to be able to do stuff like that. But it really, it might be, it looks like it's getting a little bit warmer. I'm like scared for my chocolate, but yeah, some of it's been molded on one side, so I'm like trying to put it on, this, but it's pretty solid. It's just the double chocolate on one side is good, on one side not good, so that it's supposed to be heavenly no matter what. So we're keeping it near water for now, and I'm going to get a cooler with ice tomorrow. You're not supposed to put it in the freezer, though, your chocolates, but in this particular case, thinking, we might have to do a little bit of something because it's 80 degrees coming up. So, but hopefully we'll be gone, and maybe we'll hit like a really good storm, and it'll be colder by the time tomorrow hits. So you never know. You never know. So options, right? That's about it. I hope you guys have a very beautiful rest of your Sunday, and take care. I'd also like to give a shout out to the guys who helped me, because I turned into a place that was tall enough. However, the pipes inside were not. So, and they give the gesture for you, and it does look like you have enough room to swing it. The bottom half of that is meeting up with pipes when you go in, so be careful of your rigging. But yeah, not too bright on my. I just thought we'd go in and have some comfort because of the chocolate I bought instead of sitting out in the sun. So yeah, not going to be good for the next couple of days, which is supposed to be pretty warm. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, take care, guys, and do the best you can do. That's all you can do, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.